Hi, 6th graders. I hope everything has been going well. Today we are going to start lesson 2.3, which is all about rounding decimals. So if you want to pause the video and fill out your topic and your learning target, which is I can round decimals using place value, and set up your notes, then we will be ready to start. Alright, so to round decimals, we are going to fill out this chart, which is going to help us as we are doing this. So to round decimals, the first thing we need to do is we need to underline the digit to be rounded. So you can go ahead and fill in underline. After we underline the digit that needs to be rounded, we highlight the digit to the right of the place being rounded. Okay. If the digit is 4 or less, the underlined digit remains the same or stays the same. If the digit is 5 or more, you add 1 to the underlined digit. And then after you round, you drop all of the digits after the underlined digit. Okay, so now let's practice this. Let's see how I could actually round some of these numbers. Alright, so I'm going to start with the first one. 4 and 29,539. What place value is that in? Hundred thousandths. Okay, that's a big number. So what we need to do is we need to round to the tenths place. That's one we're going to start with. So we underline the digit that is being rounded. So the tenths place, this 2 is in that tenths place. Alright, and now we're going to highlight, so grab your highlighter, the digit to the right that is being rounded. So it's that 9, right, to the right of it. Is that digit 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? Right, it's 5 or more. So what that means is I'm going to add 1 to this 2, which will make it a 3. So my new number, my rounded number, is 4 3/10. And everything after that 2, which we rounded to a 3, changes to either zeros or you just leave it. Okay, so if you wanted, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. But that's the same thing as if I just left it as 4 3/10. Alright, I'm going to erase this and set up for the next one. Now I am doing hundredths. So my first step is to underline the hundredths place. So that hundredths place is this 9 right here. After you have underlined it, we're going to highlight our digit to the right. So 1 to the right is this 5. And now we need to decide if is 5 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? Right, we know it's 5 or more, so what that means is I'm going to add a 1 to this 9. If I add 1 to this 9, that's going to change it to a 10. So then I need to carry my 1 over here, and this one will stay a 0, or turn a 0. So then 1 plus 2 gives me 3. So my number is 4 30/100ths, which is the exact same as what we wrote for the tenths there. Alright, let's do the next one. We need to round for the nearest whole number. So we're going to underline our whole number. Our whole number is the number that is before the decimal place, which is that 4. And then we highlight the number to the right of it. Oops. So it would be that 2. Is that 2 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? It is 4 or less. So my underlined digit stays the same. So my answer is just 4. Alright, our last one. Now we need to round to the nearest thousandth. Alright, so we're going to underline which number is in the thousandths place. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. This 5 right here. And now we highlight the digit to the right of it. So this 3. That 3, is it 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? Right, it's 4 or less, so my 5 stays the same. So my number is 4 and 295 thousandths. And I just drop all the numbers at the end. They don't matter. Alright, so that's the first one. Now let's try the second one. I'm going to go a little quicker through the second one. Alright, so I have that nice long number. So the first one we need to is round to the nearest tenth. So when I look at that number, I know my tenths place is the place right after the decimal, so that 5. Now I highlight the number to the right. A 6, that 6, is it 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? Right, it's 5 or more, so that means I'm adding 1 to my 5. Alright, so my number after I round is 9 and 6/10. Alright, let's do the next one. Next one is hundredths. I find my hundredths place and I underline it in my number. My hundredths place is this 6. And then I highlight the number to the right. To the right of it, I get the number 2. Is 2 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? Right, it's 4 or less, so that means my 6 stays the same. So my number now is 9 and 56 hundredths. Alright, let's do the next one. This time I'm going to do orange. Now we're looking at the whole. So our whole is the number that's before the decimal, which is this 9. And then I highlight the number to the right, which is a 5. Is that 5 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? It's 5 or more, so that means I need to add 1 to my underlined number. So I'm adding 1 plus 9, which gives me a new number, or my rounded number, of 10. Alright, and the last one, we're going to do thousandths. Let me erase this again. So what number is in the thousandths place? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. It's this 2. So then I highlight the number to the right. That 8, is it 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? Right, it's 5 or more, so that means I'm adding 1 to the 2. So my new rounded number is 9 and 563 thousandths. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. We are going to move on to a few more of these problems. So we need to round each decimal to the indicated place value position. So let's zoom into number 1. I have 1 and 324 thousandths, and I want to round to the nearest whole number. So I underline my whole number, which is this 1, and I highlight the number to the left. Ooh, let me pick a different color that stands out a little more. Ooh. There we go. That one works. 3 is 4 or less, so that means my underlined digit stays the same. So when I round it, I get a 1. Alright, let's look at number 2. 99 and 96 hundredths. This time they want us to round to the nearest tenth. So I know my tenth place is the 9 right after the decimal place. So then I'm going to highlight the number on the right of it. That 6 is 5 or more, which means it is going to add 1 to this 9. Okay, when it adds 1 to that 9, it changes to a 10. And then this 9 changes to a 10. And this 9 changes to a 10. So my number after I round is 100 tenths. Alright, let's look at number 3. This time I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. So 10th hundredth, this 1 is the number I'm rounding to. And then I highlight my number to the right, which is the 9. I know that 9 is 5 or more, which means I am adding 1 to my hundredths place. So my rounded number is 13 and 42 hundredths. Okay, and the last one. Ooh, look at that long number. This time I'm rounding to the nearest thousandth. Alright, so I go 10th, 100th, 1000th. So the first 8 that you see is the number we're rounding to. I always underline it and then I highlight the digit to the right of it. That 3 is 4 or less, which means my 8 is going to stay the same. So my new number when I round is 278 thousandths. Alright, let's move on to the next section. We've got one problem left. So this table over here on the right shows the prices of movie tickets from 5 different theaters. Okay, so we need to round each price to the nearest dollar. So to do that, I'm going to zoom in on my table. $8.75, I want to round that to the nearest dollar, which means I want to round it to the number before the decimal place, to my ones place. Then I highlight the number to the right of it. That 7 is more than 5, so that means I add 1 to my whole number. So MovieMax, when you round it, gives you $9. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the rest of them. I underline my 7. I'm looking at this 9. That 9 is going to make me add 1 because it's more than 5. So when I round this, my new number is $8 for the Star Theater. Alright, Movie Mania. I underline my ones digit and I highlight my tenths digit. That 2 makes the 6 stay the same, so Movie Mania is $6. Dollar Theater, I underline my 1 and I highlight my 7. That 7 is more than 5, so that changes my $1 to $2. And my last one, Cinemark. I underline my 9 and I highlight my 6. That 6 is more than 5, so it's adding 1 to my 9, which makes it $10. Okay, so we have done the first step. We've rounded each price to the nearest dollar. Now we need to list the prices in order from least to greatest. Alright, so to do this, we're going to look at the rounded numbers that we did. Which number was our smallest? Right, it was the $2 one. And then underneath I'm going to write the actual price it was. It was $1.75. Alright, now I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to change colors so that my numbers stand out more. So I did Dollar Theater. What was my next lowest? Right, it was Movie Mania, which was $6. And then the actual price was $6.25. Cross it off, move on to the next one. My next smallest was $8, and the actual price was $7.95. Alright, next one. The next smallest was the $9, which is actually $8.75. Which leaves our last one, Cinemark, which was 10, and that was actually $9.60. Alright, so I've just listed all of my prices in order from least to greatest, and I'm done. So now there are 2 IXLs to work on today. Once you have worked on those 2 IXLs, then you can go ahead and work on the 2.3 worksheet. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great day, 6th graders. I'll see you later. Bye.